Okay, let's just jump right in with a big question. What if you could actually change the past? And maybe, just maybe, the more important question is, what would the universe do to stop you? To really wrap our heads around the puzzle of time travel, we're not going to start with the complex theory. No, we're starting with a story, a really personal story about a boy who lost absolutely everything. So, picture this. It's 1955. A 10-year-old boy is sitting right beside his father, a TV repairman. He listens as his dad's final breaths fill the room. And then, silence. In that single moment, his whole world just completely falls apart. And that profound, personal tragedy, it became the spark for a lifelong obsession. Lost in grief, the boy escapes into books. And that's when he stumbles upon a science fiction novel that plants this tiny, impossible seed of hope in his mind. H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. Now for him, this wasn't just some story. No, it felt like a potential blueprint, a way to maybe, just maybe, see his father one last time.
You know, that one dream fueled a lifetime of work. He got totally inspired by the mind-bending ideas of Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. And that little boy, he grew up to become astrophysicist Ronald Mallet, dedicating his entire career to one single monumental goal, building a real time machine.
So how in the world would it work? Well, Mallet took a page right out of Einstein's book. We know that massive things, like black holes, can literally warp the fabric of space-time with their gravity, kind of like a bowling ball on a trampoline. Mallet's big idea was that light could do the same thing. His concept? You use a circulating, super intense beam of light, think a ring of incredibly powerful lasers, to literally twist space-time so much that it folds back on itself, creating a stable, traversable loop into the past.
But Mallet's dream, and really any dream of changing the past, runs headfirst into this classic logic-bending problem that has fascinated and frustrated thinkers for decades.
Ah yes, the grandfather paradox. It's a classic for a reason. Imagine you actually succeed. You built a time machine, you go back, and you stop your grandparents from ever meeting. Okay, seems simple. But if they never meet, your parent is never born. And if your parent is never born, well then you are never born. So who went back in time to stop them in the first place? It creates this perfect, impossible, brain-breaking loop.
So does a paradox like this just slam the door shut on time travel? I mean, if any action you take just erases your very ability to have taken it, is the whole concept just a fundamental dead end?
Well, believe it or not, a really strange story from the early days of the internet proposed a solution. A man who claimed he was from the future argued that the universe has its own built-in fix for this exact problem.
Back in November of 2000, a user who called himself John Titter started posting on internet forums. His claim was pretty wild. He said he was an American soldier from the year 2036, and he was sent back on a government mission to get his hands on a vintage IBM 5100 computer. Why? Apparently, they needed it to solve a major computer glitch in his time. So Titter offered a solution to the grandfather paradox, a concept he called the Heisenberg effect. Now, let's be super clear. This has absolutely nothing to do with the real Heisenberg uncertainty principle from quantum mechanics. Titter's theory was that the universe has a kind of self-correcting immune system. Any paradoxical change you try to make will eventually get smoothed over, healed, by reality itself. And Titter had this wonderfully simple way to explain it. He said the universe is like a small child. If it makes a mistake, it just corrects itself over time. So even if you went back and tried to change something huge, the river of time would just flow around your actions and things would eventually get back to normal. Maybe without you even remembering you did anything. But what if you don't even need a machine? The source material we looked at suggests there might be other, stranger ways the past and present can interact, almost like glitches in the very fabric of reality.
And these glitches seem to come in two main flavors. First, you've got the parallel universe glitch. Think of it as seeing a moment from a whole different reality just bleeding into ours. The source gives this example of a family driving down a familiar road and suddenly it's lined with these strange, tall, red trees that just vanish the next day. Then there's the time slip. This is when you see a moment from our own past. The classic example happened in 1901, when two English women visiting the Palace of Versailles claimed they briefly saw the grounds exactly as they were in the 18th century, complete with Queen Marie Antoinette sketching at an easel.
So, after all these paradoxes, these personal dreams, these strange glitches in reality, it all comes down to one final, really mind-bending thought about the nature of time itself.
We're always told that the arrow of time only moves forward, right? So here's the question I want to leave you with. If you manage to build a machine and travel from your present to what you call the past, are you truly revisiting a time that has already happened? Or are you simply traveling to a different point in your own personal future? Think about that for a second.